news report, we're going to talk about the amenities that the Houston museums have as information centers with the purpose of informing and appassionating the population with what we have discovered as human beings throughout the years. We will have as guests in our show 4 students that have had the opportunity at living these experiences: Jose Luis Gomez, Sebastian Winkens, Roberto Rosa, and Victoria Leon. So please, present yourselves.
Hello, my name is Jose Luis Gomez and I'm from Prepa Tech Tampico. During these first 3 days, we spend most of the time in museums where the technology and the science are denoted. That is, I'm going to introduce to you how are these museums related to the topic. Our first visit was to the Houston Museum of Natural Science. At here, we saw how the animals and insects have been investigated, documented, and also exposed to the public so we could see more detail how they look. Science has helped us to know about the environment that surrounds us. This to answer all doubts we have by experimentation and investigation. Near the entrance of the museum there was a pendulum, which demonstrates how the rotation of the Earth makes it move. Until this date, the advancements of science have let us achieve this kind of objects that help us know more about the Earth. In the second day, we visited the Hell Museum, where we saw many advancements in technology as in science. The technology that we used for the practices at the beginning of the visit were pretty helpful to accomplish what they asked us to do. The technology of today has made us advance and use faster and appropriate techniques for some types of works and activities that we regularly do. Although science and technology have different definitions, these two have made a great impact on how we live. With the technological advances we have obtained until these days, the comprehension of life and objects has facilitated. And with the advancements of science until now, more relevant information about our past and other living things is discovered. Advancements in technology as in science have produced many benefits to the community. A study released by Pew Research Center showed that 67% of the American adults think that science has positive effects in society, being helpful for health and medicine, and 27% think that it has a positive and negative result. 52% consider that technology has beneficial effects. Other 38 assume that technology produces positive and negative consequences to the population. Then, we did a practice where we could see our DNA taking advantage of the properties of the soap, which makes the cells spread, letting us see a visible change in the liquid. At last, we were able to tour the museum, letting us see the properties of the body employing the technology provided inside.
Then we'll have Sebastian Winkens with a report about communication.
Communication has been around since man has been in the world. We have always had a way to communicate, but as time has passed, we have developed better and more detailed and efficient ways to communicate. For example, in the 1800s, we already had many different languages, but to communicate from one place to another, we just used the telegraph, a really primitive way of transmitting information by using sounds, long and short ones. But as time went on, technology did evolve and in an exponential way. For example, in the 20th century, there was the invention called the radio, which could transmit frequencies to hear the voice of someone in another place. Later, satellites came, and finally the internet, that is a global computer network providing a variety of information and communication facilities for humans on Earth. Thanks to the development in communication, we can communicate in a more effective and efficient way. For example, in the visits we had made in some museums, like the natural science one, they had interactive ways of transmitting information, like buttons to play question and answers live with your partners, or a touchpad in which you could feel how ants feel different things like rain or human walking. Also, they had small screens with information read to you with a voice, this making it more interesting than you just reading it. A different example in how evolution in communication is shown in the visits was in the Holocaust Museum, where they provided us with a radio receiver and earbuds to help us hear the guide and his explanations. This working as a tool for the guide, as not everybody could hear him without the radio.
This video is brought to you by Mountain Dew. Up next, we have Herbert Tolosa with a report about genetic engineering.
Hi, I'm Herbert Rosa and I'm here to talk to you about genetic engineering. Basically, what genetic engineering is the practice of changing the genome of a certain species. We as humans, we use genetic engineering to breed plants and animals to our desire. For example, we can make fruits be bigger and have more fruits that they can give after, or animals without feathers, so we don't have to go through the skinning process before processing them. Genetic engineering is very useful not only for making species more beneficial to us, but also it can benefit us directly. Genetic engineering can make some diseases practically disappear by just changing some little genes in the gene pool. Another thing that has been going on recently is something called CRISPR, that basically just genetic engineering but automatic. It uses an enzyme called Cas9 that cuts precisely and reprograms any DNA that you give to it. Scientists can use this enzyme and to change the genes they want without losing any quality. During the visit to our museums, very notably in the visit to the Health Museum, we got to do some experiments while we stayed. One was to extract our own DNA. During this experiment, all we did was extract our DNA, and then our instructor told us that with DNA you can help detect what diseases you have, and that you can detect whether your parents are biological or not. But we didn't get to dive into the topic even more. We just got a glimpse of what DNA can do by its own. But now, what kind of risks does genetic engineering bring? Genetic engineering can come with a lot of risk, especially when we tamper with life. Even little mistakes can make an organism change severely by just changing a little bit, a small amount of the genes in the gene pool. And then there's the ethical part of the problem, because we will be tampering with life itself. So basically, we will be playing God, and we cannot assure that the technology will be used for good or evil, because it can be used for a lot of good. We can benefit society a lot, or in the other hand, it can be used in the wrong way.
And now we have Victoria Leon with medical advances.
Hey, my name is Victoria de Leon. I am 16 years old and I'm a high school student from Texas, and I am really into sciences, specifically physics and astronomy, and I consider this trip as a great opportunity to practice my abilities and reinforce my beliefs about several topics. I am going to talk about medical advances. The main medical achievements through history are vaccines, anesthesia, germ theory to refute the belief of spontaneous generation as an explanation for a disease, medical imaging, penicillin, the world's first antibiotic, organ transplants in 1954, antiviral drugs in the 60s, stem cell therapy in the 70s, immunotherapy in the 70s too, and in our actuality, artificial intelligence, with the main purpose of diagnosing faster, preventing the development of diseases, and reacting towards them in the best way possible. During our visits, we could get in touch with these achievements in the day 1 and 2, where we visited the Houston Museum of Natural Science and the Health Museum. This with a focus in our modernity. We learned how the way in which we relate to human health issues has been evolving through the pass of time. Now we know a lot about how bodies work and what do they mostly need to keep healthy. And not only human bodies, but animals in general. Our visit to the aquarium on the third day taught us how much we have improved looking for the way of making different species live longer. But in terms of medicine, the analysis and specialization in different areas have been the basis for solving health problems that work together constantly. As humanity, we still have so much to improve, current and future problems to solve, but will always be present for the simple fact that we are living things changing all the time. And, of course, we need to consider that to carry on. Also, in our first and second visits, we could acknowledge in AIDS the set of symptoms that can happen at the last stage of an infection if it is not treated. In cancer, how genetics are involved in the abnormal cells division without control that can invade nerve tissues. In viral diseases, how viruses expand according to its characteristics. And we could see this clearly in the Health Museum, where we analyzed DNA into other microscopic structures and how they work together. And finally, life expectancy being a consequence of the habits a person has. We get to know facts about the importance of exercise and a good diet having an impact on the structural and general functioning of the body level. The Health Museum resumed this with a quote, "You are what you eat." Another interesting thing we learn is that the human brain and the human mind are totally different things. They are a symbiosis in which one can be fully complete without the other in terms of human nature. The brain is the raw material that welcomes the complex thoughts structure that defines us as individualities. The structure is the mind. Returning to our innovative modernity, we could focus on the similarities of artificial and human intelligence. Artificial intelligence by itself, because of its purpose of creation, it is almost by default similar to human intelligence, by the simple fact that it comes from it. The principal characteristics of intelligence are reasoning, problem solving, and learning. The main clue is its involvement in adaptation to changes and different environments. We are these now.
Finally, the students will tell us their opinions about their visits.
So, how were the visits?
Well, during these first days, I think that these visits gave to us too much information that will help us to develop ourselves in the future. So I think they were pretty good.
Yeah, I think it really did make us a little bit more, to know a little bit more about these different topics that we were discussing.
Yeah, a very interesting thing is evolution in this case, because if we feel pressure when we are learning, we are never with the pictures. So if we can apply this and everything, science can be very, very interesting.
I like that we visit a lot of museums with different themes, that we get to know a lot instead of just focusing on just one theme.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah,
I think it was the best.
yeah,
Good trip.
yeah. It was a nice trip.
Very good trip. Have a nice day.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.